Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar organized by Westway Tours and Safaris. This webinar is presented in voice over Internet Protocol audio. Please ensure that your computer speakers are on. For participants in North America that cannot use your speakers for whatever reason, you may use our conference calling system by dialing 1-888-433-2192 and then entering the participant code number 780068. We will commencing the webinar almost instantly. I shall now mute you all who are on the telephone, and I will also mute people who are on the VoIP protocol. At the end of the webinar, should you have any questions, I will unmute the people who are on the telephone line and the people who are, because we're getting terrible noise coming back from the VoIP, I will have to ask questions through our question section in here. I will be more than happy to answer any questions I might be able to answer. So please bear with me. I shall be starting ipso facto. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Bestway Tours and Safaris, Journées Sans Frontières, I would like to welcome you to today's webinar. My name is Peter Langer, and I'm the Destination Marketing and Education Specialist of Bestway Tours and Safaris. I shall be your guide to an exciting new product we have come up with in the last little while. As a matter of fact, we've been developing it for many, many years. Just a little bit of information about Bestway Tours and Safaris. We operate tours to over 100 countries. We have, over the years, organized specialized tours for a number of universities, museums, and other renowned institutions, such as Yale University, the Royal Canadian Astronomical Society, and many organizations of this kind, which gives us an experience in organizing specialized groups which is unparalleled in the world of tourism. Our headquarters are in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada, and we have operational offices in the Middle East, in India, in Central Asia, and in Africa. Our Journée Sans Frontières concept has been going since 1978. The philosophical aim of Bestway Tours and Safaris is to transcend all the political borders and really get to see the world. We offer small group cultural tours. These are very small groups because they allow you a much more intimate experience in terms of interaction with people, what you see. But we will get more about that a little later. Our small group cultural tours also have a highly personalized service. Once again, we want to share the different cultures and places we are going to show to you. Our programs give you truly an experience of the local culture, and that's an emphasis we like to place. Rather than just going to the traditional tourist restaurant on a group, we really like to give you an experience of the local culture. We try to convey a sense of history that is not necessarily confined to ruins, scenery that must be seen to be fully appreciated, and really genuine contact with people from all over the world. As I mentioned, Bestway Tours organizes tours to over 100 countries. We have pioneer tours to destinations such as Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, and North Korea. As a matter of fact, we are currently planning new tours to South Sudan because that is the newest country in the world. We have also organized journeys to really remote locations, such as Bouvet Island, which is the most remote or as far from any continent as possible island in the Middle Atlantic Ridge. We have also done tours to Socotra Island, which is a pretty much very similar to the Galapagos by the coast of Yemen in the Arabian Sea, with an incredible biodiversity hardly known in the world. It's only about 600 people who visit Socotra Island. Talking about islands, we've also organized journeys to the newest country in Asia, which is East Timor. Our specialty at Best Way Tours and Safaris is to customize our tours to fit your individual needs. What we're going to talk about today is a brand new concept. Actually, the concept is not all that new. It's World Heritage Tours. For quite a few years, Best Way Tours and Safaris has been planning and putting together a new concept called World Heritage Tours. First and foremost, what is a World Heritage? Well, a World Heritage Site is a place that is listed by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, in other words, UNESCO, as of special cultural or physical significance. In other words, a World Heritage Site is a place, such as a forest or a mountain, a lake, a desert, a monument, a building, a complex, or a city that has been listed by the UNESCO as having special cultural or physical significance. This list is maintained by the International World Heritage Program, administered by the UNESCO World Heritage Committee, composed of 21 state parties, which are elected by the UNESCO General Assembly. The headquarters of this organization is in Paris, France. Now, the World Heritage Sites get determined approximately once a year. It's usually in the summer, when the committee really debates what new places to include, what places to declare in danger, etc., etc. The World Heritage Committee establishes the sites to be listed as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The program catalogs, names, and conserves sites of outstanding cultural or natural importance to the common heritage of humanity since 1972. Keep that year in mind, 1972. It's going to be very important for the marketing because right now we are in 2012, which means it's the 40th anniversary of the World Heritage Committee. The World Heritage List includes over 900 properties forming part of the cultural and natural heritage of the world, considered to have outstanding universal value. You see the map of the great distribution of World Heritage Sites. First and foremost, the sites which are indicated by the yellow dots are cultural sites. The sites indicated by the green dots are natural sites. Then you will see, barely I would say, certain sites which are both yellow and green. That means they are both natural and cultural. And finally, you see some red dots. These are World Heritage Sites in danger. These are World Heritage Sites which, because of modernity, climate change, war, and other such disasters, are in grave danger of disappearing or being seriously damaged. There's a couple of caveats when we look at these 900. It's actually 939 at present, but by July 2012, that number will have changed again. For a World Heritage Site to be a World Heritage Site, it has to be of outstanding universal value and meet at least one of 10 criteria to be included in the list. And the criteria are divided into cultural criteria and natural criteria. In terms of cultural criteria, a World Heritage Site must represent a masterpiece of the human creative genius. For example, here we have a clear example of the human creative genius with the Taj Mahal in Agra, in India. A World Heritage Site exhibits an important interchange of human values over a span of time or within a cultural area of the world on developments in architecture or technology, monumental arts, town planning, or landscape design. The image, for example, you're seeing here is of Samarkand in Uzbekistan, which is in many ways called the crossroads of cultures. From here, a number of architectural improvements, city design, the inspiration for the great Mughals originated. So you can see it's an important place for the interchange of human values. In a third point, a World Heritage Site bears a unique or exceptional testimony to a cultural tradition or to a civilization which is living or which has disappeared. In this case, we have a beautiful site in Petra in Jordan, which belongs to the Nabateans, which lived approximately 2,000 years ago and left us with this absolutely stunning red rose architecture carved in the rocks of Petra. A World Heritage Site is also an outstanding example of a type of building, architectural or technological ensemble, or landscape which illustrates a significant stage in human history. This image, for example, is of the cave temple in the caves of Ellora. It is actually the largest sculpture in the world. The entire temple, from top to bottom, is one piece of stone which was carved in between the years 700 and 800 in Anno Domini. And it's one of the greatest highlights you can visit. A World Heritage Site is also an outstanding example of a traditional human settlement, of land use or sea use, which is a representative of a culture or of human interaction with the environment, especially when such environment has become vulnerable under the impact of irreversible change. A classic example of this is the citadel of Machu Picchu. This is actually Machu Picchu is a mixed World Heritage Site. It has so much importance not only from the archaeological site as the lost city of the Incas, but also from all the nature, the orchids, and the bird lives which surround it. The last cultural criteria in terms of World Heritage Sites is that it is directly or tangibly associated with events or living traditions, with ideas or with beliefs, with artistic and literary works of outstanding universal significance. In this case, you're looking at the bazaar in the city of Esfahan, Iran. In the middle of this big bazaar on Maidan Emam, which is the whole World Heritage Site, there's this absolutely stunning mosque, the Sheikh Lutfollah Mosque. Now we go to the natural criteria. And really, what a World Heritage Site must do to qualify is to contain superlative natural phenomena or areas of exceptional natural beauty and aesthetic importance. Here, for example, you see the Glaciar Perito Moreno in the Parque Nacional de los Glaciares in Argentina. This is, oddly enough, one of the few glaciers which is not in retreat in the world. It is located in southern Argentina in Patagonia. A natural World Heritage Site is also an outstanding example representing major stages of Earth's history, including the record of life, significant ongoing geological processes in the development of landforms, or significant geomorphic or physiographic features. Here, for example, you're looking at a picture of Wadi al Hitan. Wadi al Hitan, or the Whale Valley, is located in Egypt. And about 20 million years ago, it was a seabed. And what you see here is a petrified mangrove. So, in the middle of the desert of Egypt, you find this mangrove. And here, a lot of skeletons of baleen whales were found by paleontologists. It's an astonishing sight, and we do include it in our World Heritage Tour of Egypt. A World Heritage Site of natural criteria is also an outstanding example representing significant ongoing ecological and biological processes in the evolution and development of terrestrial, freshwater, coastal, and marine ecosystems and communities of plants and animals. There's a number of World Heritage Sites which are located in the Amazon basin or in the Sahara Desert, and they all conform to this sort of Galapagos Island, Socotra Island, which conform to the natural criteria. Finally, we have a definition which implies that the natural criteria contains the most important and significant natural habitats for in situ conservation of biological diversity, including those containing threatened species of outstanding universal value from the point of view of science or conservation. Here, for example, there are three World Heritage Sites which are dedicated to protecting the one horned Asian rhinoceros. There is the Chitwan National Park in Nepal, but also the Manas Natural Reserve and Kaziranga National Park in India, where you get to see these rhinos still living, well, relatively happily without being poached and surrounded by all the ecosystem which allows them to prevail. There's an important caveat or note which we have to take, that is, a World Heritage Site does not always consist of a single physical property. Because the World Heritage Committee decides sometimes that a whole style of things or a group of things belong to the same characteristics, you will find, and this leads to a little bit of confusion, that a World Heritage Site is located in more than one location. For example, the images you're seeing is the Persian Garden. There are actually 7 Persian gardens in the world, most of them in Iran, but a couple of them in Pakistan and India, which refer to the Persian Garden. In this case, we have the one in Esfahan, in Shiraz, and in Kashan. They're all Persian gardens, but sometimes the distances in between these World Heritage Sites are quite big. So we are talking not just a few kilometers, but sometimes they are hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away, but they still have the similar characteristics. Here's another example, which are the Jesuitic missions of the Misiones de Chiquitos in Bolivia. There are 5 very distinct churches, each of them individually done, which still represent the impact of the Swiss and Bavarian Jesuits, which came to populate the Chaco region of Bolivia in the 18th century. Also, please keep in mind that many sites belong to more than one country. So, in the listing of UNESCO, there is duplicates which exist when counting them by country or within a region. A good example of that, for example, is Iguazu Falls. In the case of Iguazu, for example, as you follow the pointer, you will notice that the Brazilian side of the falls is on this side, while the Argentinian side of the falls is on the opposite end of the river. It's funny when you go to Iguazu, really the best views or general generic views are actually from the Brazilian side. On the other hand, to be up close and personal to these wonderful waterfalls, we have to visit the Argentinian side. Now, what we have done is we have developed over the years this concept of World Heritage Tours. Because at Bestway Tours, we are seriously concerned about the type of client which collects these sites. Our specialized division, World Heritage Tours, designs special journeys in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas that focus on visiting as many UNESCO World Heritage Sites as possible within reason in a given itinerary. At Best Tours and Safaris, we have actually identified an avid type of traveler that is keen on visiting World Heritage Sites and collecting these. In the same way as certain people collect different objects, people collect experiences. There are people who go to many concerts and they are treasured memories in their life. In this case, we have identified a market of people who really are keen on seeing all these outstanding places of mankind. And our itineraries have been placed with these collectors in mind. Personally, I've had the good fortune to have been to over 400 World Heritage Sites. These itineraries, however, do not only cover World Heritage Sites, but also present beautiful scenery and offer genuine interaction with the local people to appreciate the cultural diversity of of the places we visit. For example, here you see an inclusion in our tour. This is not a World Heritage Site of the Uros Islands on Lake Titicaca, which the Uros live on both sides of Lake Titicaca in Peru and in Bolivia. Now, let's talk a little bit about marketing the World Heritage Tours. In 2012, UNESCO will be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the World Heritage Committee. So there will be ample publicity in much of the mainstream media. It's important to note that a lot of people are very, very keen, will be exposed to it. National Geographic, for example, will be publishing a special full color edition, commemorative edition, celebrating the 40th anniversary of the World Heritage Committee. Clients that will be interested in this sort of tours can be found in universities, museums, professional associations, cultural societies, photography clubs, and affinity organizations. For example, you could go to the anthropology department of a given university, or the art history department, or the natural history department. Or you can go to certain cultural societies. There's a number of institutes of Oriental studies, for example, which would already create a base of customers which might be very interested in participating in one of these tours. Best Way Tours and Safaris will assist you in marketing these tours to your clients through dedicated flyers, presentations to your clients, and other marketing support. So, if you happen to have an interested group of people who might be interested, um, what we can do for you is help you to set up a slideshow, a multi-image presentation, so you can further assist. We want to further assist you in selling these tours to your clients. Our travel agency partners will also profit greatly from the generous commissions we offer at Bestway Tours and Safaris. Now, I would like to invite you to show you this wonderful brochure. It's sort of funny. This was not done on design, but this is a 40-page brochure which is coming out at the 40th anniversary of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee. I'm going to invite you now to see the different regions we offer in this brochure and to give you some general comments about the various tours we offer in this brochure. We start with the Indian subcontinent, and our masterpiece of an itinerary is India, Northern and Southern Heritage. This particular tour will take you from north to south of India. It will visit 16 World Heritage Sites, includes also 4 deluxe daytime rides to enjoy the scenery. Now, this journey is actually almost a month long. It's a complete north to south travel, which gives you a comprehensive overview in 29 days. We do realize that a lot of people don't necessarily have 29 days to spend exploring India. So we give you also the option, or give your clients the option, to break the tour in half. There might be people who are only interested in the Northern Heritage, which is a 15-day tour, or people who are interested in the Southern Heritage. In that case, we do the switchover or the continuation of the tour in the city of Mumbai, and there people can enter India through Delhi and then exit through Mumbai, or at the end of the tour in Chennai, or they can enter India through Mumbai and then exit through Chennai. It's a comprehensive tour. Of course, it includes the Taj Mahal. It includes beautiful World Heritage Sites such as Khajuraho, the wonderful caves in Ajanta and Ellora, the amazing Portuguese colonial architecture in Goa, the Nilgiri Mountain Railway, which is a part of the Mountain Railways of India World Heritage Site, the amazing sculptures in Mahabalipuram. So there is a huge variety which we have put into this particular tour. But we don't only travel India from north to south, we also visit India in the west and the east. Our Western India Heritage Tour starts, as a matter of fact, in Delhi and ends in Mumbai. It's a 17-day tour which will take you through some of the great highlights of Western India. One of the great highlights I find is you go through the heritage of ancient Buddhism. Incidentally, on this tour, we visit 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and we step really into the Buddhist, Afghan, Mughal, and British legacy of India. In this particular tour, we also visit rarely visited parts of India, such as Bhopal, Indore, Mandu, and Sanchi. Sanchi, which you see here, is one of the oldest Buddhist monasteries on India. So that gives you a rough idea as to what we have. We also have a tour which takes you to the Eastern Heritage of India. This one, as a matter of fact, you visit remote Tibetan monasteries in the Himalayas. It is focused mostly on the wonderful places in Arunachal Pradesh and in West Bengal. Amongst the World Heritage Sites we visit here, we go on of the oldest mountain railways in the world, which is the Nilgiri Darjeeling Railway, the Himalayan Darjeeling Railway, which is a very cute little train which was built in the middle of the 19th century. We also visit the amazing temple of Konark. Konark, as a matter of fact, this is the Sun Temple, and this is the chariot of the sun god. That's why it has all these amazing wheels carved in stone in approximately the 10th century. The other aspect in India to visit is its holy river, India's spiritual heart. And we have a journey to the Ganges. The Ganges tour includes 7 World Heritage Sites, and we basically follow in the path of the Holy Ganges River. What is interesting about this particular tour is that we visit particularly Varanasi, Rishikesh, Haridwar, which are places where there's a lot of human activity going on. Um, India, teeming with millions, we could even almost say billions of people, provides you with these traditions. For example, people have been bathing in the waters of the Ganges for well over 5,000 years in the city of Varanasi. To be there and to see these activities, which are so old, and you are surrounded by the teeming humanity, is a unique experience I can highly suggest to anyone. But we don't only do India. In South Asia, we also have a fantastic tour of World Heritage Sites of Sri Lanka. This tour includes 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, mostly focused on Sri Lanka's ancient Buddhist heritage. For example, we visit this Temple of the Tooth in the city of Kandy. This is this is the Temple of the Tooth. There is a tooth which reportedly belonged to Lord Buddha, which made its way all the way to Sri Lanka, and it's an impressive ceremony which takes place there at 7 a.m. and at 7 p.m. when they open the door to the actual inner sanctum of the temple. There's a number of interesting cities, such as Polonnaruwa, Anuradhapura, and Sigiriya, which also reflect the ancient history, the well over 2,000-year-old history of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has now come out of its civil war, and it is an up and coming destination. It is an amazing place. I can highly suggest it, and it's absolutely safe. A little known country in South Asia, and not everybody offers tours to Bangladesh. We have created a World Heritage Tour to Bangladesh. This is relatively a short tour, it's only 7 days. So I would suggest to combine this tour with an exploration of Western India, or possibly combine it with China, Central Asia. Nepal is also easily in combination, Thailand and Malaysia. The Bangladesh has 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. One of them is this ancient Buddhist vihara in Paharpur. Then we have the wonderful mosque city, so you see a little bit of the Muslim legacy in India in Bawalpur. And finally, we have the amazing Sundarbans forest, where probably some of the last remaining tigers in the world are still in existence. Not to be forgotten is the wonderful country of Pakistan. In our World Heritage Sites of Pakistan tour, we visit all 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Pakistan. For starters, we discover the ancient Indus Valley civilization and Pakistan's ancient Buddhist heritage. The city of Mohenjo-daro, which you see pictured here, is probably one of the oldest cities in the world. roughly at the same time as Egypt or Mesopotamia, so it's well over 5,000 years old. Pakistan has a very long history, and some of the most exquisite Mughal architecture in Lahore, in Rohtas Fort, but also in the cities of Peshawar. It's a remarkable place, and Multan. I can highly recommend a trip to Pakistan. Um, Having been there about 5 times, it's a fantastic destination. We continue to Southeast Asia. And what is a trip to Southeast Asia without including the Philippines? It's funny, but so many people ignore the Philippines, and it's a lovely archipelago of islands, but with very friendly, wonderful people, wonderful beaches, but nobody ever focuses on the World Heritage of the Philippines. In the Philippines, you have the rice terraces of Banawi, for example, which have been carved by the Ifugao people for well over 2,000 years. We also have fantastic Spanish colonial architecture. That's to be seen in the city of Vigan. And then there's one of those multi World Heritage sites, which is the Spanish colonial churches of the Philippines, and it's a fortress church architecture. You can see two of them on this slide, which were built by the Spaniards in the 16th and 17th century. Finally, we have an amazing World Natural Site, which is the Puerto Princesa subterranean river on the island of Palawan. So the Philippines is more than beaches and more than fiestas. There's also four World Heritage Sites in addition to the Tubuhata Reef. Another fascinating part of the world is Indochina. And this is our traditional tour of Indochina. It includes Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. However, what is fascinating about this particular tour is we don't only do the traditional circuit, which many of you might be familiar with, but we also include not often visited World Heritage Sites, such as the city of the archaeological site of My Son, or the citadel of the Ho dynasty in Vietnam. Our tour also includes a wonderful experience in Luang Prabang in Laos, where you explore the ancient capital city of the Langshan Kingdom, visiting a number of temples beautifully preserved in Laos. A great tour which we have organized, and Bestway Tours has operations in Central Asia. This is a very interesting area. It's been up and coming over the last 20 years since the breakup of the Soviet Union. We have a tour which is called Route of the Caravans, the Silk Road, and this takes you along the Silk Road in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. In essence, what we follow here is along the path of the caravans where the silk came. Um, we visit the birthplace of two very important empires. The builder Tamerlane, the birthplace of Tamerlane, who is the builder of the Timurid Empire, and Babur. Babur was actually the founder of the Mughal Empire. He started here, went off to Afghanistan, and then founded this amazing empire in India. It's an interesting tour. We visit seven UNESCO World Heritage Sites on this particular tour. Let's go into the Middle East. And here we start with Persia. Legendary Persia, 5,000 years of history, 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We discovered the ancient sites of Chogasambil, Pasargade, Persepolis, to go into the ancient Persia, which eventually was defeated by Alexander the Great. We also will see the beauty of the Persian gardens and soak up the atmosphere of some of the most beautiful Islamic architecture in the world in the cities of Esfahan, Yas, Shiraz. It's an amazing country, perfectly safe to travel. This is a short tour, only 2 weeks, and we include 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We also follow not only in terms of architecture, but sometimes we follow just with the Silk Road. There's another very important traditional route, which is the Frankincense Trail. In our World Heritage of the Frankincense Trail tour, we follow the caravan routes through Oman and Yemen. We start in Muscat in Oman and end up in Sana'a in Yemen. And we visit these places, as you can see from the pictures, they are really still living medieval legacy. And when you go through the desert, for example, sometimes the people who live there will not take dollars, certainly not credit cards. They are still taking silver coins from the times of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, so the man can actually bite into the silver coin to make sure that it's still silver. It's a fascinating part of the world, and certainly not explored by many people. We have another area which is fundamental to the history of antiquity, and that's our World Heritage Sites of the Levant tour. Here we visit Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria because there's so much history and so much evolution of art, of different religions coming and going. We visit 15 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, some of them dating back to antiquity, such as Petra and Palmyra, and others to visit the various desert castles, the Crusader castles, which are strewn all over the area of the Levant. This tour is 17 days long and visits 15 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We also have a tour which is a journey through antiquity, which covers basically Egypt, Jordan, and Israel. We wander in amazement at the Great Pyramids of Giza, visit Petra, the holy area of the monastery of St. Catherine at Mount Sinai in South Sinai in Egypt. This ending this tour in the holy city of Jerusalem. On this tour, we visit 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, explore the historic centers of Cairo and Jerusalem, and also wonder in amazement at the lovely landscapes at Wadi Rum and Petra. This tour also includes a Nile cruise for about 4 days, exploring the most interesting parts or historical parts of the Upper Nile. Israel, which is the spiritual heart to three important religions, also has a lot of World Heritage Sites, dating back from biblical times up to modernity. This is a relatively short tour for 9 days, and we do not only travel through Israel, the landscape, but we also travel through history. So, from old biblical and Roman sites, we travel all the way to the modern architecture city movement, the Bauhaus sort of architecture, which was developed in the white city of Tel Aviv. And another great area of expertise of Best Way Tours and Safaris is Northern Africa. Starting, of course, with a jewel of Northern Africa, which is Egypt. We cover all the UNESCO World Heritage Sites on these tours in 17 days. Interestingly enough, we explore quite a bit of Egypt's ancient Christian heritage in Abu Mina and many of the Coptic monasteries which are strewn between Cairo and Alexandria. I mentioned earlier Wadi al Hitan, which is this millenary old valley with a geological formation of the baleen whales. And there's a number of whale skeletons on display in the middle of the desert. It's a remarkable sight. Of course, this tour also includes a cruise on the River Nile. We have a tour to Libya. As a matter of fact, Best Way Tours and Safaris was the first North American tour operator to offer cultural tours in Libya since the 1990s. The heritage of Libya consists obviously of goes back to many millennia because we visit the remote rock art sites of Tadrat Akakus. That's in the south of the Sahara Desert, and there's a huge collection of prehistoric paintings. Of course, most people will identify Libya with the Punic Wars, with the clash in between the Carthaginians and the Romans, and we will visit the amazing cities of Leptis Magna, Sabrata, Cyrene, and Apollonia, just to give you an idea of this absolutely fascinating country. Good to combine with Libya is actually our Tunisia World Heritage discovery. In this particular case, we're visiting seven World Heritage sites, and it's perfect because the Libya tour is approximately 2 weeks, and the Tunisia one is only 8 days. So, and keep in mind that two of those days are arrival and departure. So, it's a perfect combination to visit also the remains of ancient Carthage, see the legacy of the Roman Empire, and explore some of the greatest and wealthiest cities of the Islamic world from the 12th to about the 16th century. We conclude in North Africa, of course, with our World Heritage Tour of Morocco. In this tour, we obviously journey through the imperial cities of Rabat, Meknes, Fez, and Marrakesh, travel through the towering Atlas Mountains, explore the oasis in the Sahara Desert, and visit the beautiful Atlantic coast in 14 days. It's an interesting tour because there's such a variety of different landscapes. We then head to Eastern and Southern Africa. But before we do that, we are offering a very interesting tour, which includes actually Africa's highlights. You discover Africa's highlights in Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and Egypt. And this is a tour for those people who want to see the greatest highlights, such as an African safari, take an Egyptian Nile cruise, visit the amazing city of Cairo, but also wish to see Victoria Falls. As a matter of fact, for this particular tour, Best Way Tours and Safaris has negotiated a special airfare for this tour. So, what we do is we start from North America, fly to Victoria Falls, visit Victoria Falls, head to Tanzania, take a wonderful safari. As a matter of fact, you get 6 game safaris in Tanzania. Head to Egypt, visit Cairo, and then embark on our lovely Nile cruise. That is a highlight tour, which is mostly meant for people who really don't have that much time but want to see the great highlights of Africa. For those of you which might want to combine only Egypt and an East African safari, we also have this amazing tour, which is slightly over 3 weeks, includes 12 game safaris in Kenya and Tanzania, visits 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, of course, also includes the Nile cruise and a visit to Cairo. For those of you who are interested in the World Heritage Sites of East Africa in Kenya and Tanzania, here we have something very special. Not only are we going on safaris and looking at game and 12 different game drives and visit 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but really we explore also the Swahili coastal trading towns of Zanzibar, Mombasa, and Lamu. These three towns are actually the points where the Arabian culture and the African culture met and traded over the centuries. That's actually where the Swahili language originates, which is a mixture of African languages, Portuguese, and Arabic. The most fascinating of Eastern African countries, because of its incredible cultural diversity and so much of living culture, of course, is Ethiopia. Ethiopia is mountainous and is located in the middle of the Great Rift Valley. We will visit all 9 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Ethiopia, but it is quite a bit of a long tour simply because transportation through the different landscapes and visiting the different tribes and peoples is actually quite complicated. It's an amazing tour which offers you a huge variety. Let's not forget that some of the oldest Christian churches in the world are located in Lalibela, in Aksum. These are places which where Christianity came before it even made it to Europe. Talking about Europe, we have sort of concentrated on Eastern Europe because it's much more difficult to travel through that part of Europe than Western Europe, which anybody can do on a quick, simple tour, or basically do it on a Eurail pass, or simply rent a car and do on their own. Our first tour we offer is the World Heritage Sites of the Caucasus. Here we travel to Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. We visit seven UNESCO World Heritage Sites, discover Azerbaijan's rock art and millenary history, and really, in terms of the architecture, we will explore isolated churches and monasteries in Armenia and Georgia. This is now again possible, very much like Central Asia, thanks to the implosion of the Soviet Union 20 years ago. Many of these countries have become very easy to visit. Of course, what is a tour of the eastern part of Europe, or I would say where East meets West, like Turkey? We have a comprehensive World Heritage Tour of Turkey, visiting all 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Turkey. Turkey, again, is one of those countries where you explore thousands of years of history. We visit the ancient sites of Hattusha or Nemrut Dao, Troy, Pergamum. Not only do we see these sites of antiquity, but the magnificent Ottoman architecture we visit in Istanbul and Edirne or in Konya. So it's a comprehensive 3 week tour. We also have a tour which takes you through the highlights of Eastern Europe. Starting in Moscow, we visit Moscow, Novgorod, and St. Petersburg to see some of the great highlights of Imperial Russia. Then we travel to the capital cities of the three Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, head into Poland, visiting Warsaw and Krakow, go to the marvelous golden city of Prague, and end our tour in Vienna, the former capital of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. On this relatively short 19-day tour, we visit 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Another one of our great favorites, and actually one of the top sellers of Best Way Tours and Safaris, is our Balkan Mosaic Tour. This tour takes you through Albania, Bosnia Herzegovina, Croatia, Kosovo, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Slovenia. In approximately 3 weeks, we visit 16 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in these countries. We see the legacy of the Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian Empire and roughly where these clashes happened. We, in essence, we are visiting the former Yugoslavia, including Albania, which never was part of Yugoslavia. But we explore all this area. It's a very difficult, believe it or not, even today, aside from Croatia, the rest of the countries are relatively difficult to visit. Many of countries such as Kosovo, Macedonia, and Serbia, for example, use Cyrillic writing. It's such a multiplicity of places we visit here. It's a fantastic tour, which makes it very easy. Train connections in the Balkans are absolutely dreadful. You have to jump from bus to bus or rent a car, not being able to read in Cyrillic. This is the perfect tour to see the great highlights of these countries on the Adriatic coast. And to balance it a little bit out, we also travel to the Eastern Balkans. This is a fantastic tour to World Heritage of Bulgaria and Romania. These World Heritage Sites date back to antiquity. For example, ancient Thrace and Macedonia have a lot of the amazing archaeological sites. We also visit rock-hewn churches from ancient Christianity, or the wooden churches, or the which are beautifully painted of the Maramures, or the churches of Moldavia. It's a 2 week tour and includes 13 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Finally, we get to South America. Here we have concentrated our tours on the Andes, starting with Colombia. Our Colombia World Heritage Discovery Tour takes you in 2 weeks through 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including pre-Columbian stelae in San Agustin and Hypogia in Tierra Adentro. We also visit beautiful colonial towns such as Santa Cruz de Mompox or Cartagena de Indias, the largest walled city in the Americas. And of course, this actually became an UNESCO World Heritage Site last year, the coffee cultural landscape of Colombia. Ecuador, on the other hand, is a small little country, but it is so packed full of good, interesting things that we travel basically to visit all three World Heritage Sites in Ecuador. We wander through Quito, and as a matter of fact, the city of Quito is probably the best preserved or least altered historic center in Latin America. Another fascinating colonial city and with a hodgepodge of architecture is the city of Santa Ana de los Rios de Cuenca, or Ilias Cuenca. And of course, what is a visit of Ecuador without visiting the Galapagos Islands? The Galapagos is where Charles Darwin finally realized how the theory of evolution worked, and it's a naturalist and photographer's paradise. We have actually included here a 4 day cruise to the Galapagos Islands, but we also offer an alternative 6 day cruise, including other types of islands. We also offer a tour of Peru, the land of the Incas. Here, we visit a lot of pre-Columbian archaeological sites and then Spanish colonial gems aside from beautiful natural sites. It is very important to note that of the 9 World Heritage Sites we visit on this tour, many of them are pre-Inca. The Incas only existed from the 14th to the 15th century, and really the great legacy of both Peru and Bolivia come from the pre-Inca cultures such as the Moche, Chavin, Chibcha, and Wari cultures, which left their impact in Peru. This tour takes approximately 3 weeks. We also include a sail on Lake Titicaca, exploring the sacred valley of the Incas, and an incredible flight over the mysterious Nazca Lines. A perfect combination with Peru is a relatively unknown country in South America, and that is Bolivia. In the tour of Bolivia, and this is very well combined with our UNESCO World Heritage Tour of Peru, here we visit 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including also, which is not a World Heritage Site, the Salar de Uyuni, which is actually the world's largest salt flat. We travel on Lake Titicaca, as we did in Peru, and visit remarkable pre-Inca ruins in Tiwanaku and Samaipata. We also experience the living heritage of the Jesuit missions of the Chiquitos and visit the amazing colonial cities of Potosi and Sucre. Now, some finalizing remarks. All our tours include arrival and departure transfers. Very important because some tour companies, you might notice, oh, we'll meet at the lobby of the hotel the day after your arrival. We feel it's very important that our passengers are picked up and dropped off at the airport, particularly in certain places in the world. You're arriving at 12 midnight or at 1 o'clock in the morning or some other ungodly hour. We want to ensure that our passengers are feeling safe and are properly looked after from the get go. We use superior or deluxe class hotels with private facilities. All the meals as they are indicated on the itinerary. This varies. There's always on every tour of Best Way Tours and Safaris, there's breakfast included. However, certain lunches or certain dinners we will vary according to the tour. Of course, the local touring, sightseeing, entrance fees, as per the itinerary, are included, and we always use English-speaking guides. It goes without saying that the local taxes and service charges are also included in our tours. Very important note: our minimum group size is of 2 passengers. And once that minimum group size has been reached, the tour will definitely operate. Now, when you look at it, and all you need to do to book a World Heritage Tour is put a couple on a tour, and the tour will be guaranteed. There's a number of tour companies which might have a minimum operational number of 6 or 10 or whatever the number is, but with Best Way, once you have a couple, the tour operates. The maximum size is limited from 12 to 16 passengers. This really depends very much on the destination. We believe very seriously in limiting the group size simply because A, there is a savings in time from an organizational and operational point of view. By the people do a photo stop or have a meal or so, To herd a huge group of 30 or 40 people takes a long time. Because our groups are so small, they also will have a better experience with engaging with the locals. It becomes less of one of these tremendous uh, trips of too many people at a given site. So that gives us a little bit more of an intimate experience. As I mentioned to you earlier, Bestway also customizes tours to suit your client's own requirements, whether that's for a solo person or a group. We feel extremely confident and comfortable in customizing tour programs to suit your own areas of interest and dates. The whole point is that when you plan a trip with us, you will save time, money, and above all, hassle. I know there's a lot of things which are cheap on the internet, but ultimately, remember that you might have quite a bit of hassle and surprises when you try to organize some of these things on yourself. We are ultimately committed to providing you with superior quality travel at real value per dollar prices. We've also created a dedicated website which is called worldheritagetours.com. I encourage you to explore it to find more details about these tours. The brochure does not include as much detail, especially dates and pricing are all to be found on the dedicated worldheritagetours.com website. Also, you will find all that detailed itinerary information, optional tours, additions, and other tour ideas which might not necessarily be World Heritage at www.bestway.com. You can always contact us at Vancouver at 604-264-7378, or in Canada or the United States, you can give us a toll free call at 1-800-663-0844, or obviously send us an email to bestway.com. This actually concludes the session of today's webinar. Now, as some of you might have realized, we are having a draw, and I will proceed to that. But first and foremost, I would like to see if there are any questions. Should you have any questions, please type them in the go to webinar control panel, and I'll be more than happy to answer them.